Good afternoon and warm welcome to all the respected dignitaries, Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Professor Dr. Naveen Seth Sir, respected Registrar Dr. K.N. Kher Sir, invited Chief Guest Professor Dr. Sanjay Garg Sir, invited Guest of Honor Shri Murthy Sir, our invited eminent speaker Mr. Manu Zakaria Sir, respected Director of GTU GSET Professor S.D. Pansal Sir, and all my dear fellow participants and one and all present over here through the online mode in this event. Myself, Professor Seema Joshi, Assistant Professor of GTU GSET, welcome you all for this 5-day online faculty development program on network security, organized by Graduate School of Engineering and Technology. Under the Information Security Education and Awareness, ISEA Project 2, this project is run by CDEC Hyderabad with the support of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, MIT, of Government of India. Before moving further, I would like to say a few words about the objective of this FDP. As we know that network security is very much important for home networks as well as for the business and government organization in all over the world. Cyber attackers are increasingly seeking to exploit the vulnerabilities in the organization's security infrastructure. So it is very much important to focus upon the network security and think about the implementation of user-centric as well as zero-trust solutions in this area. So the aim of this FDP is to learn the concept of network security with hands-on practices. So during this 5-day, the participants will gain the knowledge and skill to analyze and assess the network risk as well as deploy the appropriate countermeasures through the multiple hands-on exercises during this training. I would like to introduce our resource person. The main motive of our FDP is to learn the network security as a complete module during this 5-day. For that, we have invited Sri Manu Zakaria Sir. He is the eminent speaker and information security evangelist with more than 25 years of experience, as well as he is the CEO of HEC IT Technology and Advisory Services, which is situated in India, UAE, as well as Singapore. He is awarded by the prestigious Microsoft Most Valuable Professional MVP Award for the Enterprise Security stream, as well as he is also honored with the prestigious Asia Pacific Information Security Leadership Achievement Award for 2010 under the Senior Information Security Professional category. He is the creator and chief architecture of Matrix, Asia's first security and penetration testing operating system. He is the founder of Information Security Day Initiative and COCON International Hacking and Information Security Conference, which is held annually and which is one of the most prestigious conference of cybersecurity. He is also associated with the CDEC, R&D institutions and scientific societies of Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, Government of India. And he is also the member of Community Board of Advisors of Ethical Hacker Network Portal. It is not limited to, he achieved a lot during this 25 years of his professional experience. So Manu sir, again, I would like to welcome you and give my gratitude. So because you have accepted this invitation for 5 days to conduct this FDP. And we are sure that we learn a lot during this FDP. During this FDP, the event topics which are going to cover, that is introduction to network security, then protocol and packet analysis, introduction to Wireshark, then TCP dump, then about the firewall and virtual private network configuration, as well as intrusion detection system, SNOT, and With this concept, we will have also hands-on practice for all these days. So I think we all will learn so many things about the network security. Now, moving further, I would like to request all the dignitaries and everyone to please stand up for GTU song.
GTU, GTU, समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय GTU, GTU, समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय जन कल्याण का अडिग हिमालय गुजरात तकनीकी विश्वविद्यालय GTU, GTU, समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय GTU, GTU, समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय इनोवेशन की मशाल उठाए ज्ञान को चारों ओर फैलाए विश्वकर्मा की कृपा को पाकर विश्व फलक पर शान बढ़ाए नवीनता की खुशबू से जो भारत का कण कण महकाए ज्ञान पिपासु शिष्य वृंद की तपो साधना सफल बनाए GTU, GTU, समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय GTU, GTU, समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय अनुभवी शिक्षक कौशल बढ़ाए हर हित का ही पाठ पढ़ाए अनुसंधान और ज्ञान का संगम भावी पीढ़ी उज्जवल बनाए आत्मनिर्भर युवा बने और शिक्षित विकसित राष्ट्र कहाए गौरव माता पिता का बढ़ाए हर मन में विश्वास जगाए GTU, GTU, समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय GTU, GTU, समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय विकास का यही क्रम दोहराए GTU को सर्वश्रेष्ठ बनाए हासिल करके उच्च सफलता शिक्षा जगत में क्रांति लाए सिद्धपुर सोमनाथ सूरत से कच्छ तलक फैला ज्ञानालय अपार संजोए संभावना गुजरात तकनीकी विश्वविद्यालय GTU, GTU, समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय GTU, GTU, समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय जन कल्याण का अडिग हिमालय गुजरात तकनीकी विश्वविद्यालय GTU, GTU, समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय GTU, GTU, समुचित ज्ञान समन्वय
Thank you very much, all of you. Now, I request respected Professor Dr. S.D. Panchal, sir, Professor and Director of GTU GSET, to share his ideas about this activity.
Good afternoon, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So, good afternoon, everybody. Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, Dr. Navin Sheth, sir. Respected Registrar, Dr. K.N. Khair, sir. today's chief guest, Professor Sanjay Garg sir. Today's guest of honor, Dr. Jyoti sir. Coordinator of the event, Professor Seema Joshi. Co-coordinator of the event, Professor Margam, and all dear participants. Gujarat Technological University is always committed to create awareness specifically in the security domain. And in line of that, this is the third consecutive faculty development program of this month we are starting. The title of the FDP is to create awareness in network security domain. Specifically, I would like to thank Dr. Murthy sir for sponsoring such kind of FDP to create awareness specifically in the security domain. We know that the prevention is better than cure. So same thing is also true for security domain. In the security domain, the awareness is very important. Today, if you will look at some statistics, over 80,000 cyber attacks per day and over 30 million attacks per year is happening nowadays. And this is the figure which is going to be increased in coming futures. Because nowadays, everybody is pushing for digitization. Even the government is also giving a lot of weightage in automation. So every financial sector, administrative sectors, educational sectors, all sectors are now become a part of the digitization. So obviously, the more important benefit is what? At home, we can provide the services to each and every stakeholder. But at the same time, the challenge is to have a secure world and how to secure the world digitally. And for that, awareness is very important. One of the basic objective of ISEA to conduct such kind of FDP through the various centers is to prepare the cyber security aware expert. And this is the FDP which is aiming to create the experts and awareness among them. Even if you will see some statistics, 1% of the files are not protected in any ways. It's a big challenge. Over around 65% pupils are not changing their passwords. So it's a big, you can say that the vulnerability which exists. So this kind of awareness program definitely will help to sensitize the pupil. So our aim, GTU's aim, is to prepare the experts in the cyber security domain, and through that we can proliferate the awareness to the villages as well as the normal people also. Cyber criminals will still estimated 33 billion records, and these records are very sensitive. So by looking into this kind of challenges, it is a very much important for our academic institutions to prepare the cyber security experts. GTU, GSET is always in a objective to create a good expert in specifically cyber security domain. We have a 2 years PG program running in the cyber security domain. And along with that, we have many such kind of courses also we are planning to run. So with this remark, I would like to conclude. Once again, I thank you, Murthy sir, ISEA, and chief guest of the today's functions, Dr. Garg sir, for sparing their valuable times. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable remarks. And I'm sure we will achieve our goal of cyber safe nation through such kind of activities. Now I request our guest of honor of today's event, Sri C.H. Murthy sir, Associate Director of CDEC Hyderabad, to share his ideas about this FDP. Okay, I think Murthy sir is engaged in some other meeting. So I would like to continue moving further. Now I request our chief guest of today's event, Professor Sanjay Garg sir, Professor of Computer Science and Engineering Department of Nirma University, Ahmedabad, to share his views about this FDP.
Thank you, Seema Madam, for giving the opportunity. So, Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Dr. Naveen Sheth, Sri Ken Kher Sahab, Registrar of GTU, Sri S.D. Panchal Sahib, Sri Margam Suthar Sahib, Sri Ms. Seema Joshi, and all the participants of FDP and one and all present here. Good evening to all. First of all, I want to congratulate the coordinators of the FDP who have chosen the right and timely topic, that is network security for the FDP, which is the need of the day and also need of the future. When we were studying this computer security kind of subject during our UG studies in 1988, I think computer networks were not a very much common phenomenon. We were working on standalone systems or say mainframes where outside intrusions were very difficult. And introduction of computer networks and later on introduction of internet, we made multiple gates of entries in the computer systems. If you are having multiple gates of entry means there are more security threats. In those days, just physical security and password protection were enough. But now these days network security became not only a simply for academic purpose, not only a course, but it is as used like a complete academic program. There are so many institutions which are running even UG programs in the computer security. So now it is a so vast field. As far as security in general terms is concerned, it is having 5 integral parts like detection, prevention, hiding, investigation, and legal support. When we say detection prevention, that means we should know who is trying to enter in the prohibited zone, whether that person is genuine or not. If that person is unauthorized, he should not be able to enter in the system. Second thing, suppose he has entered in our system. So now hiding comes into the picture, that suppose we are having some gold jewelry, so we should naturally polish that in some say whimsical metallic form, so that he will not be able to understand what is that. So he will not try to steal that gold jewelry. And that chemical only I am having, so that I can again convert that into the gold. So that is basically cryptography. So now fourth integral part is investigation. If that unauthorized person is trying to break your security circle, or he has broken your security arrangement, try to investigate who is that person, what are the intentions, what is the modus operandi, and what are the vulnerabilities of your system. And last one is legal support. You need legal support. That means prevailing laws in the country to punish that unauthorized person and put him in the fear before doing such act. So now these 5 integral parts of the security, any security system can be seen as computer security system. Like intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems, and firewall are basically detection and prevention. Cryptography is naturally hiding. You need a strong support of cyber forensics so that we can investigate further. Then cyber laws. And see, these all 5 parts will make a complete computer security engineer. And now, one should understand that security is integral part of human life. Some concepts can be applied to the computer and network security. Sorry, same concepts Here, you have to blend knowledge of computer engineering with group theory, prime number theory, coding theory, function theory, etc. Here I am emphasizing on mathematical part of the network security algorithms rather than procedural part, because I am addressing to computer engineers. Once you will understand that why unique multiplicative inverse property is required in any crypto system and how it can be modeled through field or group, I think it will not be difficult for you to design a new crypto system. So these mathematical concepts or the mathematical base is very much important. Sure. So I heard recently your GTU song, that is Samuchit Gyan Samanvay. So these three words are very much important for any kind of study. So I wish after completion of the FDB, participants would be able to pursue research in this field and will be able to guide budding engineers to work in this field. So I want to give best of luck to all, and parallelly I want to thank Dr. S.D. Panchal for giving me opportunity to talk on this forum. So best of luck to all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing with the knowledge and as well as the importance of cyber security in today's era. Now, Murthy sir is with us. Murthy sir, I would like to invite you to say a few words for this event. Hello.
Yes.
Murthy sir, are you there?
Murthy sir, please. Yeah.
Sir, I would like to invite you to say something about this FDP and share your views for this event.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank GTU2 for inviting me for this particular network workshop. Of course, ISEA we are part of, and we all part of, and this is like our courseware. Rather than specially, we can say that GTU's courseware. So, Honorable Chief Guest Dr. Sanjay Garg, the Professor CSE Nirma University, and Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor D. Naveen Sheth, and Registrar, Honorable Registrar Dr. Anand Kher, and Professor S.D. Panchal. So very good afternoon, and participants, very, very good afternoon. Of course, our resource person, Manoj Jakaya, we thank you for being part of us and taking such kind of a network security activity towards various professor, because it's not only network security is not a single term, it's a broad term that covers a multitude of technologies, devices, and processes. So in its simplest form, maybe it is a set of rules and configurations designed to protect the integrity, confidentiality, and accessibility, which we generally call as CAA principles. So major principles of computer security or network security. And the importance of data, as already SD Panchal explained about what kind of threats are happening at this moment. When we are using IT, ICT, so definitely how the technology we can use it as part of the network security. So at the same time, the processes and people are very much important. People should be aware. So that is where the learning of the network security is must for every technologist, whichever technology they are belongs to, whether it is agriculture, from agriculture to defense technologies. So since network security is the base technological awareness is required. And it is very happy that I see that the program is starting with understanding about the network communication by using Wireshark, because for any program, whether it is a 6-month program, 2-year program, or even the 2-day program, it is always better to understand fundamentals of network, where that network, how the protocols will work in terms of the IT ICT communication. So until we understand that particular communication, it is very difficult to go understanding the network security technologies. So that's what the today's session or tomorrow's session may be fully on understanding IT ICT technologies through Wireshark, where you can easily understand communication, and in future, without using Wireshark, you can self understand the packets, how you are traveling, whether you are part of firewall, whether you are part of IDS, IPS. It would be very easy for us if you learn, if you are understanding the concept with respect to the network communication. So, as it is being in a kind of a broad area, maybe you will hope that Sri Jacharya maybe will give the full overview of the entire network security during the last 5 days, the next 5 days. So I'm very happy to see him, because I've seen him in the various international, and of course he is already associated with FIDAC, and we know very well about him. So thank you very much, Mr. Jacharya, who part of our program. And coming to this program, as part of ISEA, we are conducting Information Security Education and Awareness, the program which is programmed by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So in keeping view of the cyber security requirements in India, even in the 2000s, early 2000s itself, we thought of this program to conduct. But however, that the importance which we have given more on, basically to set up certain, certain and various certification controllers, such kind of organizations are evolved first. But along with that, it is India being as a resource for the human, resources for any kind of technology, that when it is coming to the IT, ICT technologies, so India is always being the past one. So we concentrated at that time itself, during the 2005 itself, we started this program and implemented in various universities, and particularly in the premier institutes like IITs, NITs, and IIITs. So that second phase was started because of the successful of first phase, where it is also going to be end with this March 2020, where we are going in different way, big way, because you know very well about that the technology is evolving in such a way that there are emerging technologies are coming. So blockchain technologies, 3D printing, robotics. So when along with that artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies, it is must that cyber security, information security must understand about this technology and go forward, so that we are thinking into a because till now we only look about that resources which we required for the globally with respect to the development of the products. But at the same time, it is very much important to consider the research manpower, so that we are trying to build kind of research clusters among the institutes who are there at the part of this particular program. And the GTU played a big role in this to consider, because when it is coming to the numbers, we require universities. IITs, NITs maybe is working within a limited resource, limited members which we are covering. But however, when universities and particularly technical universities, the number of engineering colleges are associated with these technical universities. The faculty should be enabled in such a way that they are fundamentally strong and also the technologically strong, so that this program should enable along with the research clusters. So this time what we are planning to have in a kind of a research, education and training. So we would like to add these three components together and go forward further by enabling a number of institutes across India. So in the Western India, GTU is playing an important role along with other technical universities in such a way like JNTU, West Bengal Technical University, Rajiv Gandhi Technical University at Bhopal. These are the universities are contributing a lot as part of the information security education and awareness. Always thank Honorable VC to encourage our team, and my GTU colleagues, Seema Joshi, and other people are very much participating and conducting such kind of programs with respect to the network security. We wish we will do continually such kind of programs to make both research way and development way, and also we are having a part of awareness program to make every citizen should be a cyber-aware citizen in the next 5-10 years. So we wanted to cover each and every end user, stakeholder in the form of associating with CBSE, NCERT curriculum, NCERT to build some curriculum as part of their curriculum. And already we are coming with curriculum for the engineering colleges and other colleges, like we wanted to associate with the UGC. So to be part of cyber security education by everybody as part of the educational and training activities, and awareness could be taken in the other forms like associating with the police, other agencies to reach each and every citizen. So that is what next few years which we are planning. Of course, with all these institute support, we may achieve this thing, because if you look into that, there are 60 crore people are now having with the smart mobiles. That means there is, and if you are comparing with the usage of the operating systems in India, 78.9% are the Android-based users, and now Windows is becoming only with the even the 19%, and Linux is also equally coming with as much as fast with compared with Windows. So now Android is becoming as part of that. We need to also consider and increase as much as awareness towards the Android and usage of Android and respect to security threats. So we are going within a big plans. So one of the as part of the plan, so all institutes are conducting such kind of awareness, either in the form of training or in the form of education or awareness. So I thank GTU for supporting such kind of national importance activity, and I always would be thankful to the team to conduct regularly. I think this last 1 month itself, there are 3 different trainings were conducted by GTU and then head up with all other institutes. That's what I wanted to give the statistics. And along with that, other institutes also supporting in the respective regions, because IIT Guwahati conducted IoT security over social media analytics, and similarly AI, artificial intelligence over IoT was conducted by GTU in the last week itself. So this is where we are all going together and try to reach our objectives, and we are always thankful to ministry to support continually, as we being as only the interface between the ministry and as being part of the ministry. CDAC Hyderabad is acting as only the agency, but otherwise the major part is doing by the respective institutes towards the national interest. With this, I wish this training would be definitely useful, because so whenever I started, I learned first time in 2001 or 2, first my training course in cybersecurity, started understanding the communication, where at that time the cost of the Ethereal, that commercial product is license is 1.8 lakh, 1.9 lakh rupee per one license. So at that time we started with Ethereal. Now Ethereal became slowly in the next within 4 or 5 years as open source and as an actor as a Wireshark. And of course it is a very really beautiful tool which you can understand about the network communication very easily. Hope all you will be part of the network security, and you will become as an expert in this area if you put some effort on this particular technologies, and it would be good thing. With this, I conclude my thing, and I am very thankful once again to GTU for involving such activities. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for all kind of supports, and as well as your, showing your concern about the cyber security. And we assure you that with the teamwork, we'll definitely achieve the goal, which is secure nation. Now I request respected Dr. K.N. Kher, sir, Registrar of GTU, to share his ideas on this FDP event.
Good afternoon, all and all, one and all. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Naveen Seth, sir. Today's guest of honor, Sri Murthy, sir. Today's chief guest, Sri Sanjay Garg, sir. Director, GSET, Sri S.D. Pansal, sir. Sima ma'am, and all the faculties. I came to know that more than 100 participants from well-known international and national level institutes and organizations have registered in this said FDP. I welcome all of you and want to congratulate you for showing your interest to learn and explore your knowledge about the network security. As we know, faculty development refer to a range of activities that are perceived to help academicians in improving their professional skills that are essential for carrying out their teaching, learning, research, or administrative activities in technical educations. GTU always tries to organize faculty development program for the teachers of colleges. One of such online FDP titled Network Security under Information Security Education and Awareness Project 2, where eminent expert Sri Manu Jataria is going to share his practical knowledge and experience about network security with hands-on practices. I congratulate the GTU GSET team for their efforts to arrange such a very important training program so that faculty members, industry delegates, and research scholars can explore their knowledge in the cybersecurity field. I hope that this training program will be beneficial for all the participants to enhance their skills and percolate their knowledge to their students also. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request our visionary leader, Honorable Vice Chancellor of GTU, Professor Dr. Naveen Seth, sir, to share his thoughts regarding this event.
Yeah.
Sir, please.
Namaskar. I am audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Namaskar.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Respected today's chief guest, Dr. Sanjay Garg from Nirva University, Dr. A.S. Murthy from CDEC Hyderabad, the Director GSET, Dr. Panchal, the FDP Coordinator Shima Ben, Co-Coordinator Margam Shuthar, and all faculties who join virtually in this faculty development program with the support of the infrastructure, information security, education and awareness project under the Government of India through CDEC. Gujarat Technological University, one of the largest university of the Gujarat, with about 450 affiliated colleges. And at the campus, we are running two programs, one with the master's degree in cybersecurity and another with the wireless technology in a GSET. So since the establishment of this Graduate School of Engineering and Technology, our students and staff working for the awareness program with the police department, moving from one school to another school for the large scale awareness program, and we enrich about more than 50,000 students. Continuously awareness programs we are doing under the various heads of the police department and the GTU projects, and this is also particularly for the faculties. So nowadays, when there is a pandemic COVID-19 situation, all are working online or the working from home. That culture is developed throughout the India. So in such condition, the security is the major problem. It is the major challenge, and particularly the data leakage, phishing attack, all such things are there. So the awareness in this particular area is most important today. So this FDP will not only benefit the faculty but they also indirectly benefit the students and the whole society at large. So, and the topic covers are also very different topics, very important topics in this FDP. So definitely those who joined in this FDP will be benefiting by this program. So I thanks again Dr. Murthy and Dr. Garg to give their consent to join in this inauguration function. I also congratulate the Manu Zakaria for giving their consent as an expert and resource person in this FDP. So thank you very much.
Motivation for all kind of activities for cybersecurity words. It always motivates us. Motivation for all kind of activities through for cyber security as well as for GTU and GSET for skill enhancement of our students as well as faculty members. Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Professor Margam Suthar, Assistant Professor of GTU and Coordinator of this FDP, to give the vote of thanks.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, respected Registrar, sir, Director, sir, and our most valuable invited guest of honor, Chief Guest, resource person, my dear colleges and participants. I feel honored and privileged to get an opportunity to propose a vote of thanks at the inauguration function of online faculty development program on network security. I, on behalf of entire family of Gujarat Technological University, Graduate School of Engineering and Technology, convey my deep regards and thanks to our innovation function chief guest, Professor Dr. Sanjay Garg sir, Nirma University, for sharing their thoughts with us. Also, heartily thanks to guest of honor, Sri A.S. Murthy sir, Associate Director of CDAC Hyderabad, for his efforts towards the information security education awareness project and encourage the institute and university to do the activity and create awareness in the cybersecurity fields. Thanks to FDP resource person, Sri Manu Zakaria sir, for gracing the inauguration ceremony with the presence and accept our invitation as a resource person. I also wish to express my sincere thanks to Professor Dr. Ashley Panchal sir for his constant support to organize this faculty development program. I wish to express profound thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir and respected Registrar sir for his encouragement and minute-to-minute guidance. I would like to thank to all once again for your active participation. Thank you very much to all the participants.
For that, I've shared a link for all of you to download a virtual machine. So probably all of you have that. So today's first part is just to get the basics clear, okay, and then introduce you to the very basic tools that we all should know who is working in security or network security. So one of the speakers in the inauguration ceremony also talked about Wireshark, which makes my job pretty much easy. So let's get into that. Before we start, let me open my screen. Please wait. I cannot share one this thing. Okay, we will. Okay, so I believe all of you can see my screen. Ma'am, can you just confirm you can see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So let's start with when we talk about network. We have the OSI layer and then we have the TCP/IP layer. Okay, so I'm not here to talk about this. All of you are already teaching this probably. So OSI layer, I would say, is more on the concept or the theory part. And we have 7 layers. Okay, and the TCP/IP layers is more on the practical side, where we have 4 layers. So in case if you are new to this, please today evening after the session, please read more about it and you'll understand. In case any questions are there, please let me know tomorrow. So whenever we are talking about computer networks, the first place that we generally start is the OSI layer and the TCP/IP layer. Okay, and then comes the second part of our topic, which is security. Okay, so again, security, the first thing that we can discuss is about confidentiality, availability, and integrity. Again, one of the speaker highlighted the CIA triad, so you can call it as CIA: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Okay, so these are known as the 3 building blocks or 3 pillars of security. So when you combine these two, we call it the network security. So basically, a good understanding of network as well as a good understanding of security is what is required. So today's task is to get ourselves comfortable with the network part. Okay, and then tomorrow onwards, we'll get into concepts like firewall and all those things. So today we are concentrating on the network part. Now, the first thing we should understand is, if you look at the OSI layer, we have the 7 layers. So application and presentation, and then session and transport, network, and data link layer. Okay, and then the physical layer. Okay, now the first thing that we will understand is, everybody knows about our mobile phone, and there is a hardware address, IME number, or whatever you want to call it. That number, everybody is aware of it. Okay, similarly, any computer or a host device that is part of the network, it has a physical address, and in a LAN, basically the physical addresses are used to communicate. Okay, IP addresses are mainly used for inter-network communications. Primarily, we say the physical addresses or the MAC addresses are used. Okay, so media access control addresses are there, and we should know, first thing we should do is to understand from where I can find out my MAC address. Okay, so if you open your Windows machine, and let me just show you that. On a Windows machine, if you type ipconfig/all, then you will get the MAC address for all the interfaces. Okay, so this is one of the easiest way to find out what is your MAC address on a Windows machine. I'll quickly show you that. Increase my font size in case if you cannot see that. Okay, pretty much okay. ipconfig/all. Okay, so if you look at my interface, I have a couple of interfaces here. You can see here my MAC address. You can see here, this is my MAC address. Okay, now we all have studied the theory. The MAC address is unique, which means 2 systems will never have the same MAC address in this world. Okay, at least as of now it is like that. We don't know about future, but as of now, the MAC addresses are unique. Okay. Now, another way to find out the MAC address is from the GUI part. The GUI, if you go to the local area network and go to the connection details, you can see from here, this is another location. And the next option is if you go to the properties, and if you place your mouse over this, it will show you the MAC address. Okay. There are multiple ways to find out. One, we should know in case anytime you want to figure out what is your MAC address. Now, some of you might be wondering why are we talking about MAC, because one of the objective for today is to master Wireshark. And in Wireshark, when a machine doesn't have a IP address, it will show the MAC address. So you should know how to find out your MAC address and what is your MAC address, all those things. That's one reason why we are discussing about the MAC address. Okay. So now let's move to the Linux part, and let's see how we can find out the MAC address. Okay. Okay, so open up any modern Linux flavor. I'm using Debian. This is the machine that I've shared with all of you. So once you log in, you can type the IPA command, and here you can see the MAC address. I cannot use mouse because this operating system I have not installed with the GUI. So you can see there link/ether, and then you see the MAC address. So that is the MAC address, or this is one of the easiest way to find out the MAC address. Otherwise, if you are comfortable with the old Linux command, which is ifconfig, you can use that also. So let me quickly install apt-get install nettools. Wait, please. If you have studied ifconfig also provides you with the MAC address. Okay, so you can see the MAC address from ifconfig output also. Okay, please remember ifconfig is an outdated command. The latest one that we all use is IPA. Okay, so the first objective was to find out the MAC address, and we use IPA or ifconfig. Okay, so let me pause for a few seconds, and in case if you have any doubt or if any comments, like if my speed is fast or anything, please let me know. The time is very less, so I'm trying to cover as much as possible. In case if you have any questions or comments as of now, please let me know. Otherwise, we can proceed to the next section. Okay. Okay, so as of now, no questions. So let's proceed. So if we go one layer up, okay, every computer that needs to communicate should have an address, and one address that we already discussed is the MAC address. Okay, but when your computer crosses your local area network and when it wants to communicate to other networks, it needs to have a logical address, and the most commonly used one is IP addresses. Okay, so IP addresses, there are a lot of theories related to it, but just a quick introduction. We have IP version 4 and IP version 6. We will concentrate on IP version 4 because still, we extensively use that 32-bit, and then we have the IP version 6, which is the 128-bit. Now, talking about IP version 4, we have the IP address, then we have the public IP concept and private IP concept, static IP concept, and dynamic IP concept. Okay, so these are the various basic things that we should be aware of. Now, due to time limitation, I'll quickly explain public IP and private IP. So when you are connected to a LAN, the first thing that you will have is a private IP, which is which is used to communicate internally. And when you connect to the internet, a public IP is used. Okay, so whenever you type the previous commands that we discussed, that is ipconfig or IPA, or sorry, ifconfig, ipconfig or ifconfig, what you get in the screen is generally the private IP. So I'm assuming that we are not directly connected to the ISP cable. ISP provides you a Ethernet cable. You're not connecting it directly to your system. If you're connecting it to a router, and then if you're behind the router, what the output of ipconfig or ifconfig is the private IP. If you want to find out your public IP, one of the easiest way is to open up your browser and type what is my ip.com. Okay, so let me quickly show you that. What is my ip.com? Let me see if this site works. Yes, so you can see my IP is 122.178.17.1. Even though my location, it is saying that I am in Tamil Nadu, I am not in Tamil Nadu right now, because my service provider, probably their head office is in Tamil Nadu. That's why it is showing like this. But I'm definitely using Airtel, so that is why it is showing it as wrong location. But that's fine. This is my public IP. Okay, so I am connected to the public IP. I am connected to the internet using this public IP. Okay, so this is one of the easiest way to find out what is your public IP. How are you connected to the internet, or how does Yahoo or Google or Hotmail sees you? What is your identity for in front of Yahoo and Google? Okay, so public IP, we can say what is my ip.com. Okay, now in your network, generally the system administrator assigns you an IP with the help of a server, and that server we call it as DHCP server. Okay, DHCP server is used to assign IP addresses to network clients, generally your laptop and devices like that. But for servers, we always need one particular IP to be maintained for a longer period. So in that case, we will assign the IP statically, which means the administrator has to go to the server and configure the IP. But in the case of dynamic, today if I am getting one IP, tomorrow I might get that same IP or a different IP. Okay, so basically what is DHCP server? It is a server which has a collection of IP addresses ready to be given out to various clients, whoever wants it. And why client needs IP address is basically because if any host machine or a client wants to communicate over the network, they need to have an IP address. That's why you need a IP address, and DHCP server is the one which provides this in the network. So how can you find out whether you are on static IP or dynamic IP? There are multiple ways. I'll show it on Windows, which is much easy for you. So if you go to your Windows machine, so here you can see DHCP server, and if you see any IP here, that means you are getting IP addresses from a DHCP server, which means you are, and here also you can see DHCP enabled, which means some server is giving you the IP. You are not using a static IP. Like you can see here, there is no static IP configured here. Somebody else is giving you an IP. Okay, so this is one of the easiest way to find out whether you are using a static IP or a dynamic IP. Okay, in most of the network, a dynamic IP is used because it is very, very easy to manage and you know, administer and all those things. So that's the quick introduction to IP addresses. Okay, we quickly covered public IP, private IP, static IP, dynamic IP. Okay, again I'll pause for a couple of you know, some time, and then let me quickly see the chat window in case if you have any questions or if you want me to cover anything related to IP version 4, please let me know. I'll wait and then we can proceed. Okay, so I think no more questions as of now. Oh, let me just see. Sorry. Yeah, so let's go to the next topic. So we just to you know, just to recollect our topic flow, we started from the data link and then we now reach the network layer. Let's go to the transport layer. Okay, so let's say I want to communicate to you know, somebody in GTU. I send a packet over the internet and the packet reaches your machine. Okay, so somebody, assume you are sitting in GTU. Now once it reaches your machine, after that what it should do, okay, that is decided by the port numbers. Okay, so every system, let's talk from the broader perspective, every system has two types of ports: the physical ports and the logical ports. Okay, so what is physical port? Whatever, when you know, the physical ports that you see at the rear of your CPU, like the serial port and then the USB port, HDMI port, all these things are examples of physical ports. Okay, serial port, all those things. When you come to the logical ports, we have again two types of ports, you could say, TCP ports and UDP ports. Okay, now let me put it this way: well-known ports and ephemeral ports, also known as client ports or dynamic ports. Okay, now there is a difference between the theory and the practical part when it comes to port. Okay, so what is the practical sorry, what is the theory says is port number 1 to 1024 is well-known ports, and ephemeral ports are from 1025 till the end, which is 65,536. Okay, so logical ports ranges from 1 to 65,536. If you are starting counting from 0, it will go up to 65,535. Okay, so this is the theory part. Sorry, this is the theory part. Now, what is the practical part? How can you see what is the port range on my machine? Okay, so what we can do is, let's go to Windows. This is on my machine, that is this machine, the ephemeral port or the client port starts from 49,152. And how many client ports are there? 16,384. Okay, but in theory it says, what is the theory part? Theory says it is starting from 1025. Earlier days it used to be like that, but nowadays every operating system maintains their own range for client applications. Okay, so this is how you find out the dynamic port range on a Windows machine. You can verify this, change this command for UDP. For example, UDP is like this. And if you want to find out for IP version 6, you can change the command like this. So I'll not get into IP version 6 because that will go beyond our scope. So let's stick to IP version 4 as of now. Okay. So this is the quick introduction to the ports that we use. So there are two types of ports. One is well-known ports and second is ephemeral ports. And anything that is not in this range, you can consider it as well-known ports. Okay, that approach is also fine. But in theory, the well-known ports are from 1 to 1024. So if you know most of the well-known services like HTTP or SMTP, everything is between 1 and 1024. HTTP is running on port number 80. SMTP is on port number 25, like that. Okay. So this is the quick introduction to ports. Let me just wait for any questions related to what we studied. That is the ports. We have one question: what is the use of cache for customer? Basically, caches are used for easy retrieval, in the sense if content has not changed, then my experience of using the site will be good, in the sense I will see the contents at a faster rate. So that is what is cache in general networking. So you don't have to regenerate the traffic if the content is not changed. So any question on the port part, if you have, please let me know. In case if you're not clear about what is client port and server port, please let me know, I'll explain. In case if you're not very clear about it.
Sir, can you please explain ephemeral port?
Ephemeral port. Okay, sure. Okay, so one good thing that I would appreciate is now we are getting questions. So questions only will make this class or this initiative successful. Otherwise, it is just a one-way activity, which is not very good. So thank you so much for asking that question, and let's see that with an example. Then you'll be very clear. Everybody knows web server, right? Everybody knows. Let me open a Paint. Paint. Wait, please. Okay. Now everybody knows the web server. Okay, so this is the web server. Whoever asked me the question, please tell me on which port the web server runs. Please, even if it is wrong, don't worry. Okay, please don't worry even if you make a mistake. Even I make mistakes, so don't worry about it. Please tell me on which port number web server operates.
Sir, 80.
Very good. The web server operates on port number 80. Okay, so I don't know how to move these around, but let's see. Yeah, okay, so there is port number 80 on this machine. Okay, so I'm not very good with Paint. Generally I use the board. Right now we don't have the board, so we have to manage with this. So port number 80 is this. Now you are connecting to this web server. Let's say this is your laptop. Okay, and you are connecting to this port. Why do we connect to a web server? We want a website, or we want to see the website. That's why we connect to the port. Okay, so you have the laptop, you have the browser. Okay, Now, please understand, anytime any computer wants to communicate, it has to open a port. Without opening a port, you cannot communicate, at least as of today. Okay, so with this point in mind, please tell me, do you know or anybody which port is opened by your browser? Let's assume you are using Firefox. Which port Firefox opens if you want to connect to, let's say, Google or XYZ website or GTU website? Okay, so the point here is, okay, the browser is the client, and here the web server is the server. Okay, so server is fixed, we already discussed here, 80. Okay, but the client will always open a random port. In theory, it is above 10224, above 1024, but in practical we saw, okay, you can see in this machine, which will be the first port it will open 49152. That is this machine. If I open one more tab or one more Firefox window, it will open 49153, like that. Okay, so this, the ports opened by the clients is what we call it as ephemeral port, and the port opened by the server is known as the well-known ports. So
Okay, sir.
okay, anytime any client connects to the server port is always fixed. Google web server port is always fixed. Either it will be 80 or 443. But your port with which you connect to Google, every time it will keep changing. Okay, and that is what is known as ephemeral port, or also known as client ports.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, very good. Let me see if we have more questions. Okay. Okay, Amit, AC117, Amit. So I already explained, and the command I showed you, this is the command if you want to see on a Windows machine. What are the client ports, that client port range? Okay, if the client wants to connect, it will open from which port it will open is what is this command will show you. And let me see if we have any other question. Okay, good. Okay, very good question from Jaydeep Kotak with a very technical, underlying fact. I will come to that, Jaydeep. Just give me 1 minute and let me go to the next question. What was the command to see ephemeral port? I'll show you, Mr. KK Sharma. At one time, multiple client can make a request to server. So how server can manage this? Okay. Krunal and Jaydeep, all these things I am answering now. First, let's start with Jaydeep's question. Okay, so I told you when I explained the port, I said it starts from 1 and it goes up to 65,536, I said. Then I also said, in case if you are starting counting from 0, then it goes up to 65,535. Okay, now what is port number 0? Port number 0 means any available port is the meaning of 0. Okay, so let's assume I am a programmer, okay, and I'm writing a socket enabled program, and I want my program to open any available port. It is something like, let's say we are in pre-COVID area, okay, or pre-COVID time, and there is this faculty development program happening. When you come to the hall, there are so many empty seats. Okay, so generally what we do, we pick up one seat which is vacant, which is empty. Okay, that is the meaning of port number 0. 0 means the application can use any available port. That is the meaning. Okay, the same related concept as you might have seen IP addresses 0.0.0.0. Okay, what is the meaning of that? One machine I can configure multiple IPs. Let's take the example of a laptop. Okay, and I have a network interface card, I have a wireless card, and then I can configure a USB network card also. Okay, so in that case I'll have 3 IPs. If I am running a web server, if I configure the web server and say listen on port number 0.0.0.0, it means that my Apache or my web server will listen on all the 3 interfaces. That is what is 0.0.0.0. If I put only one interface IP, what is the meaning? The web server is available only if you put that IP. The other 2 IPs, if you put, you cannot access it. Okay, so that is the importance of 0 in network addressing. 0 port number means any available port, and 0.0.0.0 IP means any available IP addresses. So is this clear, Mr. Jaydeep? Please confirm. Okay, let's go to the next one. What was the command to see ephemeral port? Okay, on Windows, KK Sharma, Mr. KK Sharma, please note down this command. I'll keep the screen for, let's say, 20 seconds. Please note it down. Okay. Okay, please type on chat box. You cannot see it. Okay, please wait. NetSH in IPv4 show dynamic port TCP. Okay. Okay, now let's go to the next question from Mr. Krunal Kumar Patel. At one time, multiple client can make a request to server. So how server can manage this? The answer to your question is with the concept of socket. Okay, so we need to understand what is a network socket. So let me the problem is I cannot only do this. Okay, anyway, we'll do it here. Okay, let's assume there is a client whose IP is 192.168.100.100 and there is a server whose IP is 192.168.100.200. Okay, so we already discussed that client will open a port above 1024, which means the first port will be 1025. And let's assume the server is listening on port number 80. Okay, so how or what is the concept of socket? Okay, a socket consists of 5 elements. It consists of the source IP, source port, destination IP, destination port, and protocol. Okay, so taking the first connection, you will see that the source IP is 192.168.100.100 : what will be the port number? 1025, and then what will be the next IP? 192.168.100.200, which is the destination IP. And what is the destination port number? 80, because you are connecting to web server, and the protocol is TCP. Now let's assume you or somebody else opening another tab. Let's first assume your machine opens another Firefox tab. So then what will happen? The socket created will be identified using 1026, okay, and then 192.168.100.200. colon 80 colon TCP. And let's say somebody else is connecting to the server from another IP, let's say 192.168.200.200 colon, he is opening, let's say, some random port 1030 to 192.168.100.200. colon 80 TCP. Now, this is what the server uses to uniquely identify each connection. And you can see that at any point of time, there will not be two same socket. Something will be different. And this is the entity which the server uses to uniquely identify each connection. Okay. So sockets are the primary method. At the application layer, you have session and all those things, cookies and all those things. We are not getting into that. We are talking at the network level. The network level, the server uses the sockets to differentiate between connections. So any doubt in this, Mr. Krunal, you can ask. Okay, so this is the socket. How do you define a socket? Okay, so I hope it is clear to everyone. Okay, so let's proceed and let's third IP communicate in this network. Mr. Sanjit Sinha, your question is not very clear to me. Third IP communicate in this network. So this is the second IP. Yes, this is the second IP. And if you want to put one more IP, that will again have a different socket, unique socket will be created. What if there are multiple clients behind NAT and two client uses same source port? In that case, server will have two similar socket. How do server and the NAT table handle such scenarios? Okay, very good question. So Jaydeep, when two machines behind the NAT uses the same client port, when it reaches the NATing device, the NATing device will change one of the source port to a different port. And then the NATing will handle it. I'll show you an example. Let me see if I have another window. Okay, what is my IP? Okay, where's my images? Network. Okay, so probably we'll take this example. Yes, okay. So let's take one example here. Let's say these two machines, that is 5.101 and 5.103. Yeah, 5.101 and 5.103 is using the same port, let's say 1025. So it is going out like this. Okay, it is going out via this device. This device will open or assign one port to this, and the same port cannot assign to this because it's already in use. So the NAT table will have an entry, and then it will say that this connection will now onwards use next available port. Okay, so the connection here, it will be changed, and then it will go to the internet or to the server. So when you are doing the source NATing at that time, it will change. Okay, any other question? Okay, now before we proceed, I just want to have a quick understanding. All of you had extracted and started using the VMware image that I gave you, because tomorrow onwards we'll be almost completely working on Linux machine, that particular VM. Okay, so you need that VM, and today itself you have to run it, log in, and then get used to it. Any issues that you're facing with the VM, please let me know. At least 1 or 2 people, if you have used that VM, please let me know so that I have an idea. How many of you have downloaded and extracted and used it? Please update me here. Okay, Mr. Manoj has used it. Rajesh, yes. And you are able to log in and working fine, everything? I mean, at least log in, till login, it should be working. Okay, perfect. Okay, so there are 2 username. One is the root and second is another one. And first time it will ask you to change the password and all those things, which is fine. Okay, very good. So so I showed you the Windows command. Now let's see how to find out the ephemeral ports of a Linux machine. Okay, so let's see how we can find out the ephemeral port from a Linux machine. So every Linux machine has a file cat proc sys net IPv4 IP underscore local underscore port underscore range. Okay, so you can see on this Linux machine, the client port or the ephemeral port is starting from 32,768 and it goes till 60,999. Okay, so this is how you find out what is the ephemeral range on your Linux box or Linux machine. I will type it in the chat window so that you know. Cat rock sys net IPv4 IP underscore local underscore port underscore range. Okay, so this is the command on Linux machine. Okay, Mr. KK Sharma, I understood your point. I'll come to that. After this, I'll show you that. Okay, so let's go to the next topic, which is related to Mr. KK Sharma's question. So when I said the command or this command, this shows what is the range. It will not show what are the open ports. To see open ports, we have another command. Okay, so let me show you that, then it will be clear to you. So let me go to my Windows machine. Please wait. So this is my Windows machine. And if I want to see what are the open ports on my machine, okay, on this machine, how many TCP ports are open, I have to use the command netstat -a for all. P is to specify the protocol and then say TCP. Okay, so you can see these are the ports open on my machine. Now, Mr. KK Sharma, if you type this command now, you will see many ports because you said you have opened many tabs. So when you have multiple tabs open connected to various websites, you will see different ports or sockets. So you can see this is the socket that we discussed. Protocol source port, destination address, destination port. Okay, so netstat -ap, or you can even type ANP. Both are same. Netstat space -ANP TCP. I'll type it in the chat box also. So if you want to find out the open ports for UDP, just replace TCP with UDP, netstat space -ANP UDP. Okay, so I think till now it is clear. So anytime you get from a forensic perspective, network forensic perspective, you get a machine, you want to find out what are the open ports or to which machine you are connected. One of the first command that we all try is netstat. Okay, so let's come to our this port. So this is what we have covered till now, everything. Okay, and we should be any questions on this. If you have, please let me know. Otherwise, we can now proceed to the next section. Okay, now the next thing that we will do is we will install a software called Wireshark. Most of you are already using it. Okay, I have already installed it. In case if you don't have the Wireshark software, please Google for Wireshark, go to the first link, the official site, and download whichever flavor of operating system you are using, like 32-bit or 64-bit, whatever you are using. There are various versions available. Please download it and install it. Okay. Now, what is Wireshark? Wireshark is a packet capturing tool. Okay, so let me note it down here so that it is easy for you. Okay, so what do you mean by that? It can Okay, so packet capturing tool means it is a software which can capture packets coming to or going out of your system. Okay, so is this statement clear? Let me post it in our chat box so that I can see the chat box, because otherwise I'm unable to see the chat box. So coming to or going out of your system. Okay, so now my question to you is, how does a packet enter your system or go out from your system?
From the top?
From the port number, right? Port is what
Yes,
you're
yes.
at, right? Okay, very correct. Port. Port is also correct answer. If somebody answers IP, that also we will accept. But
Socket.
yes, socket also a correct answer. But let me introduce one more using NIC. Very good. Interface. Interface is the answer that I was looking at. Interface is also correct. Port is also correct. But let's introduce interface now. Okay. Now, if you don't understand interface, if you are new to the concept or if you are not clear about interface, let's understand it like this. Let's assume this is a physical FDP program and we are all sitting in the GTU training room. Okay. Now, GTU training room, you have to visualize as if that is the computer. Now, how can we enter and exit that classroom is through the door or the window. Probably I'm just giving as an example. We are not going to enter through window, but I'm just giving as an example. Those are all interfaces to that room. Okay, so interfaces are the entry exit point. Okay, so taking a typical laptop, how many interfaces we have generally? We have the wired interface, we have the wireless interface, and modern laptops, they have the Bluetooth interface also. Let's keep Bluetooth away. Okay, we will only concentrate on wired and wireless. Okay, so your laptop, my laptop has got two interfaces. Similarly, PC has got, some PCs has got one interface, some has got 10 interface. It all depends. Like you can even have 10 interfaces. You just keep connecting the USB interfaces and all those things. So my point is, Wireshark can capture the packet, and to capture the packet, it has to select one interface. Okay. Now let's go to Windows and see some other additional points. So anytime you want to find out how many interfaces your machine has got, go to this place. Okay, on this machine I have one interface, one primary interface. Okay, this is my Windows interfaces. Now if I open Wireshark, okay, you will see the list of interfaces here. On my machine, I have only one interface. If you have installed Wireshark on your base machine, then you will see 2 or 3 probably. Okay, so in my machine, there is no confusion. I one place, that is the local area network. In your machine, you have to find out how many interfaces you have and on which interface traffic is there. You can see something like the, what do you call, the heartbeat or ECG machine, something like that. You see the traffic going here, right? So this is the place where you will see the traffic. So you have to select, let's say you are using wireless. Okay, so you have to select the Wi-Fi interface and just double click on this interface. You will start capturing the packet. So let me show you. I just double click. This window will not come because this is only a Mac feature. For you, it will not come. Okay, so and let me generate some packets. So I'll open up some browser and some search I will do, some GTU. Okay, I search for GTU and then we have all these packets. Okay, so now Wireshark is capturing packets which is going out or coming in using this interface. This interface whatever is going out and coming in. So if I open it, you can see the packet count here also. Whatever is going or coming here, this is what we are seeing inside this Wireshark. Okay, so just to have a quick introduction, this is what Wireshark does. It is a packet capturing tool. It can capture packets on various interfaces. Okay, so any question till now, please let me know. Otherwise, we will continue to the next stage.
No, sir.
Yes, please tell me. Oh,
No,
okay.
sir, there is no doubt.
Okay, okay. So let's proceed and let's understand the three windows of Wireshark. Okay, so Wireshark, when you open, you will see three windows. Okay, so the first window is known as, let me just type it for you. So the first top window is known as the packet list window. The second window is known as the packet details window. And the third one is known as packet bytes window. Okay, so when you open Wireshark, that is when you start capturing, you will see three windows. The first window is known as the packet list window, second is known as the packet details window, and the third one is known as the packet bytes window. Okay, so what basically happens, let's quickly see that. So whenever you select any one packet, okay, you can select any one packet like this, let's say like this. Okay, so that packet's details are shown in the second window. Okay, so you can see here, whichever packet that we selected here, that packet's details are shown here, and the same details in hexadecimal or raw format is shown in packet bytes, in the bytes format or the raw format. So whatever I select here, the same details in human readable format and in the machine format is what we see here. Okay, so that is the purpose of the three windows. The primary window is basically this. Here we select the packet and then we see the details here. Okay, now let's understand the various columns. Various columns are here. Very simple. This is the serial number. This is the time offset. Offset means when how much time passed after I clicked on the start button. Okay, so you can see the time in seconds, you can see here, and what is the source address and what is the destination address, and then which protocol are we seeing or analyzing, and what is the length of the packet, and a quick info or summary about that particular packet. Okay, now there are thousands of packet which Wireshark can identify. Okay, so if you want to see what are the packets that Wireshark can identify, go to edit, preferences, and if you go to protocols, you can see here the protocols supported by Wireshark. You can see the list is very big. Okay, so these are the protocols that Wireshark can support. If you are designing a new protocol, you want Wireshark to identify it, you can write plugins for that. Okay, you can add plugins and add to Wireshark. It will detect your protocol also. But by default, Wireshark identifies these many types of packets. Okay, so that is the quick introduction. So let's pick up one packet. Let me do a quick browsing and then go to a website. So please wait, let me just set up a small document, a file to download. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to download a file from a server, and let me stop capture and start capture again. Okay, now something is capturing, and let me go to a site locally. 192.168.100.100/1.txt. Okay, so I go to this website, and then I have a content. I have a text file inside that. You can see here the ABC is there. Okay, so now it is downloaded, and now I can stop the capture. Now, if you see here, there are so many types of packet. I'm not interested in all those things. I'm interested only in the HTTP capture that I did. So what I can do is I can go to this filter place and type, I am interested only to see HTTP packets. So can you see it removed all the other types of packets, and it is showing only HTTP related packets. Okay. So now I will open up. You can see I asked for 1.txt. Okay, and this is the reply from the server, and all of you saw that my web page was showing the text ABC, right? So if you look here, you can see the content here. The packet contains ABC. You can see here. Okay, so this is just to show you an idea how Wireshark can capture the data and show you if it is not encrypted, because we were using HTTP, it was not HTTPS, so everything is in plain text, and that's why we are able to read the content like this. Okay, so you can go and visit any HTTP website, and that will show the contents in plain text. But if it is a HTTPS website, and if you are capturing from in between, like a man in the middle attack or something similar, you cannot see the data because it is in encrypted format. We'll talk about encryption in the last day. So if this is clear, we can proceed to the next topic. I'll wait for a couple of seconds. Any questions you have related to this, please ask. Okay, for Wireshark, we need any external Wi-Fi model or Wi-Fi antenna. Deepak, not required for Wireshark. Basically, when you install Wireshark, it will ask you to install some drivers. Okay, so you need to install those drivers. That is only required. Now, in case, very rarely it happens, in case if your Wireshark is unable to detect any of your interface, then probably you need to buy something that Wireshark can identify or detect. Otherwise, 99% Wireshark will detect your LAN adapter and your Wi-Fi adapter. Okay, so that's it. I think no more questions. So let's now get into our Linux. Okay, so the first thing, so we are now getting into that Debian that I shared with you. We will do the first lab using that. Okay. So listen to my instructions carefully to understand the internals. So when you log in, and the first thing you should do is to find out your password. Okay, so in my case, you can see my password is 106.137. My Linux machine's IP is 106.137. Okay, now if you want to check whether your Linux machine can ping your base machine, okay, base machine is what? Generally your Windows machine. Okay, whatever is your IP, in my case 192.168.106, okay, dot 1. Okay, so if your IP is 192.168.122.131, assume your IP is 122.131, which is the IP that you should ping? You should ping 122.1. Okay, and if it is pinging, that means there is a network connection between your base machine and the guest machine. Press Ctrl C to stop the continuous ping. Okay, so again I'll repeat, if your network, if your Linux IP is, let's say, 192.168.150.130, okay, then in that case, what will be your base machine's IP? Your base machine's IP will be 192.168.150.1. Okay, so you have to ping dot 1 to check whether your base machine can communicate to your guest machine and vice versa. The second test that you should do is, from the base machine, you should ping your Linux machine. So from your Windows machine, you ping your Linux machine, it should work. So let me show you that. So this is my base machine, okay, and if I do a ping on 192.168.106.137, you can see my base machine also can now ping to the Linux machine. Okay, so now what we will do is, all of you can download a software called Putty. Okay, Putty or Putty, whatever you want to pronounce, and you can. It's a very small software which can be used to connect to our Debian machine from the Windows machine. So we can get the shell from there and start working. Okay, so I'll show you how you can connect to the Debian machine. Now, before that, let me see. I want all of you to run your Debian machine and tell me whether your port number 22 is open or not. So you have to run ss-ant. SS is the new replacement for netstat. On Linux, the netstat command is now outdated. Like I told you, if config command is outdated, similarly, netstat command in Linux is outdated now. The new command is ss. Okay, so please tell me on your local Linux machine, port number 22 is open or not. Can all of you check it and tell me whether it is open or not? You should see something like this. Can you see on my machine port number 22 is open? Like that, whether your machine port number 22 is open or not, please tell me. Please check and tell me. Not open. Okay, not open, not open. Okay, very good. No problem, no problem. So which means on your machine, the SSH server is not running. So first let's install an SSH server. Okay, so first let's do that. So what you can do is, our objective is Debian uses a software called APT, Advanced Packaging Tool. Okay, and the configuration file of this tool is, you have to open this file, nano etc apt sources.list. You have to open this file. Okay, and delete all the lines, and then you have to type what I am showing here. I'll type it in our screen also. Please wait. Okay, don't make any mistake. This line you have to add like this. I'll again type, I'll again read it out. Deb space http://deb.debian.org/debian space buster space main. Okay, this line where you have to add inside the file etc apt sources.list. Okay, no other line should be there. Remove everything from that file and only add this line. Okay, now people, if you are new to nano, then control plus O is to save and control plus X is to exit. Okay, these two commands only is required. So enter this. Once you finish, please let me know. At least one or two participants, if you let me know finished. Okay, very good. Kunal Kumar has finished. I'll wait for one more person. Okay, so two people finished. Others, you can slowly do it. Now, once you've finished, then you have to run a command called apt-get update. Okay, so what we'll do is your Linux machine will go to internet and fetch the list of softwares available in simple terms. Okay. So the command that I used is apt-get update. Okay, apt-get update you have to do, and once you finish this, then you should see a done at the last line. You should get done. That means everything is finished properly. If you don't get done, that means there is some error. Then we cannot proceed. Okay. So when you do apt-get update, you should get the output done like this. Okay. So please do an apt-get update and give me a confirmation. Okay, very good. And Mr. Jatin, are you getting the done part? Yes, okay, very good. Mr. KK Sharma, the SS command is SS space -ANT. Okay, SS space -ANT. So right now your port number 22 may not be open because we have not installed the shell, SSH server. So we will come to that very soon. Please wait. But before that, we need to see how we can install softwares. Okay. Okay. So if all of you have updated your APT, let's install our next software. Our next software that we will install is TCP dump. Okay. So let's install TCP dump. Now, what is TCP dump? TCP dump is the, I will say, forefather of Wireshark. Okay, so TCP dump is a packet capturing tool, but it is command line based, no GUI. Okay, so TCP dump you can say is the forefather of Wireshark, because originally there was only TCP dump, then came Wireshark and all those things. And one of the feature of TCP dump is, or feature, or characteristics you could say, it doesn't have a GUI, only command line is there. Okay, so let's quickly see how we can install TCP dump. Now, when you have a Linux shell and you want to check whether a package or a software is installed, the easiest command is which command, which, and you will ask whether TCP dump is installed or not. You can see TCP dump is not installed. But if you ask other commands like which SS, you can see SS is installed in this location. So quick learning point, how do we check whether a package is installed in Linux? The easiest answer is which command can be used. Okay, one of the method. Okay, so let's install TCP dump. We will say apt-get install TCP dump. Okay, so now what our Linux box will do is it will go to internet, fetch the required software and all the dependencies, and it will install on my machine. So let's quickly see that. The installation finished, and if I do a which TCP dump now, you can see TCP dump is now installed on my system. So all of you, please finish TCP dump installation and let me know through the chat window. The command is which TCP dump to check whether TCP dump is installed, and to install it, apt-get install TCP dump. Okay. Wait for okay, one more person has finished. Jatin Naik, very good. So what we have done is we have installed our first software in our Linux box. Okay, and TCP dump we have installed. Now let's quickly start using TCP dump. Okay, so to start using TCP dump, type TCP dump and then press enter. So if any packet is happening, or if any packet is traveling to your machine or from your machine, you will see the the traffic being listed. If you want to generate some traffic from your base machine, you can do a ping. So you see you are pinging and traffic is generated. So quick task, all of you run TCP dump, and then from your base machine ping the Linux machine and see whether you can see the packets, ICMP packets. Okay, please confirm whether your TCP dump is capturing. Jatin Naik said done, so I think he finished. Okay, so 2 participants finished. So that's good. Okay, so few commands I will quickly introduce. Okay, so TCP dump hyphen capital D. Okay, TCP dump hyphen capital D will display all the interfaces. Remember, when we started Wireshark, I started by saying that you should first identify how many interfaces your Wireshark has got. Similarly, when you are working with Linux, there is no GUI, so you cannot see, like how we saw in Wireshark. So we have to depend on commands. So in TCP dump, if you want to list the interfaces, the command is TCP dump space hyphen capital D. All of you already know this. Linux is case sensitive, so please don't type small d. You have to put capital D. Let's go to the next section, and let's see how we can filter traffic in TCP dump. Okay, how we can filter traffic in TCP dump. So let's say I don't want to see any other packet. I want to see only TCP packets. So I don't want to see UDP packets. I just type TCP dump and then TCP. Okay, so any other packet will not be displayed or captured. It will only capture TCP packets. Okay, so even if I ping the machine, you can see it is not capturing. Why? Because I have put a filter which is TCP. If I put a filter of ICMP, you can see it will capture that. I'll say count to. You can see it is capturing. Why? Because right now the filters are matching. Okay, so you can put TCP dump, commonly used filter names like ICMP, TCP, UDP, like that, and filter packets. So I've written all these commands in the chat box or chat window. Okay, so these are some of the filters that you can use. Now let's proceed to another very interesting feature of the TCP dump. We can write the packets to a file. Okay, so let me show you that. So what I'll do is I will say TCP dump. Before that, let me create a folder called temp. Sorry, mkdir temp cd temp, and you can see right now there is no file. I will say TCP dump write to a file, let's say myfile.pcap, and right now it is writing to that file. And whenever I want to stop it, I can say Control C, and let's see whether file is created. You can see there is a new file, and if I want to see the packets inside this file, I can type TCP dump -r. Small letter r is for reading, and then specify the file name. So my file name is myfile.pcap, and you can see it will print all the packets that is stored inside that file. Okay, so I'll write it in the chat box. You can use TCP dump to write and read, okay, from a file also. To write to a file, TCP dump write and file name dot extension, whatever it is, pcap, and to read from a file, TCP dump read file name dot pcap. So please confirm if this much is clear. Any questions, please let me know. Okay, so no more questions as of now. So before we stop the TCP dump topic, first we should understand why we should study TCP dump when we already know Wireshark. The first reason is most of you know the servers, they don't have the graphical user interface. Okay, so that time we only get a shell, that to a remote shell. Okay, so that time we won't be able to run Wireshark. And in those contexts, we should be able to run a packet capturing tool from the command line, and that is why Wireshark is very, TCP dump is very important. Okay, so let's go to two additional topics that will make you comfortable with this Linux, because tomorrow onwards we are going to work with this extensively. So you should be very comfortable with this Linux. That is why I'll cover one or two more topics which is related to some network services only. So let's quickly see whether port number 22 is open or not. We already saw that it is not open. -ANT, you can see port number on my machine it is open. In your machine it is not open. So what you have to do is, if you want to open port number 22 and run SSH, you install apt-get install SSH. Okay, just type this and it will install. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so just type apt-get install SSH. You will install the SSH server apt-get. And then if you check ss-ant, you should see port number 22 open and listening. So all of you please do it and give me a confirmation whether port number 22 is open now. Okay, very good, very good. Done. Okay. So now your port number 22 is open. We will connect to it very soon. Now, all of you tell me whether your port number 80 is open. Please check SS-ANT and tell me port number 80 is open or not. No. Okay, by default it is not open. So what we will now do is, first let's check what will happen when you connect to a port which is not open. So find out your IP address of your Linux machine. All of you already know it. Okay, IPA is the command, and from your base machine, that is your Windows machine browser, if you are using Firefox, open a private window. Okay, don't do it in your main window because of the caching problem. And if you are using Chrome, open an incognito window. Okay, and put your IP address in this format: http://192.168, whatever is your IP address, 10.20, whatever is your IP address, put and tell me whether it is opening any site or not. Which IP you have to put? You have to put Debian Linux IP from your base machine. Please tell me, is it opening any website? And if it is not opening, what is the message that you are getting? The site can be reached. Okay, very good. Why? Because you are trying to connect to a port which is not open. The port number 80 is not open. So what we are going to do now is we will install a web server on the Linux box, and then that web server will open the port 80, and from our base machine, our browser will connect to that web server. Okay, so the commonly used web server is Apache. There is other web servers like Nginx also, but we will use apt-get install Apache 2. Okay, this is the command that you have to run on the Linux machine. So let me quickly run that. I will say apt-get install Apache 2. And now if you see SS-ANT, can you see my port number 80 is open here? Here port number 80 is open, which means now if I go to my browser and type my IP address 192.168.106.137, I should see the Apache's homepage like this. After you install Apache, again refresh that web page that you tried to access earlier. You should see the home page now. Okay, so all of you are now seeing the web page now. Yes. Yes. Okay. So basically what we did was we installed some software or service, and then that particular service opened a port, and through that port there is some service now we are getting. Okay. So two ports we opened. The first port is the SSH port, which runs on port number 22. And the second is the Apache, which is running HTTP service through port number 80. So we connected to port number 80 through our browser. And what the last stage of today's class, what we will do is all of you download the putty software. Okay, and once you download and install, then when you click on it, you will see a window, and there you have to enter the IP address of our server. Only add IP address, don't add anything else, don't change anything else. Whose or which IP you have to add? You have to add the Debian's IP. Okay, once you enter the Debian's IP and press enter, it will ask for username and password. Okay, so don't give root username and password, because by default root is disabled for remote login. There is one username that is already configured, Shuhari, I believe. First you have to change the default password of Shuhari, which is tour, and keep some other password, and then enter that password, and then you will be able to connect remotely using putty. Okay, so that we can keep it as an assignment for tonight after this class. Okay, but just to give you a summary of what we did today, we started off with OSI layer and TCP/IP layer, and then we discussed how we can find out the MAC address on Windows and Linux. Then we discussed about IP addresses, various other related concepts like static IP, public IP, all those things. Then we discussed about ports, TCP, UDP ports, ephemeral ports, well-known ports, all these things. Then we saw how we can find out ephemeral ports, and then we discussed the netstat command, and then we also discussed the equivalent command, SS command. Okay, and then we discussed about Wireshark, and we discussed about the 3 windows and interfaces, all those things. Then we came to our Linux box, and then we installed TCP dump. In between we studied about APT and also the configuration file of APT, apt-get update, all those things. And finally we installed 2 network services. One is the Apache, which is a web server, and second we installed SSH daemon or SSH server, which is another service, network service, which is secure. Okay, so this is what we did today. And even though I'm supposed to give you 45 minutes practice time from 5:15, I couldn't give because of the topics, and first day being the first day. Tomorrow onwards we'll have more practice time, but today's whatever we covered, if you want to understand tomorrow's class, you should be very comfortable with whatever we discussed today. Then only tomorrow's topics you can easily understand. Okay, so please practice this. All these topics are there on the internet. YouTube, it is there. So spend some time today, so that you have a good command and grip over these topics, because these are the very basics. Okay, if you know this, tomorrow's class and day after tomorrow, it will be very easy for you. Basically editing files and apt-get update, apt-get install, all those things. Okay, so please spend some time today and master these topics, and then we'll meet tomorrow same time, I think 4 o'clock, and then we'll continue with the concepts of firewall. I think tomorrow's topic is firewall. We'll start with that. Okay, so one more thing before I conclude, I'll tell you. See, I gave you a zip file, 7-zip file, and you extracted it and you are running it, right? So I want you to create 2 extracted documents. So when you extract it, a folder is created. You can name it as deb1, then once again extract it, and second extracted folder you name it as deb2. So what is the advantage of it? You can run 2 machines, 2 Linux machines parallelly if you extract 2 times. Okay, so in that case you can have 2 machines and you can simulate a network and then practice all these things. Okay, so we will need 2 machines tomorrow, so please extract 2 times and name one folder as deb1, second folder as deb2. Okay, and keep the machines ready for tomorrow. And any questions on today's topic, if you have, I'm available now, you can ask, and then we can hand it over back to Seema ma'am.
If any question, then you can ask through chat box or through your audio, please.
Any questions, please let me know.
I think No any question?
Okay, so no questions. So, ma'am, over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. It was a really wonderful session, and you have started from the very basic fundamentals. So it is really needful for all the students as well as participants. Thank you so much, sir, and definitely we'll meet tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Sure, ma'am. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, ma'am. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, and thank you all the participants for joining the session. Tomorrow, before 10 minutes, please join. Thank you so much, and have a nice time.